Good morning. United Bank for Africa. Anthony Blinken. I need no UBA to pass tax. My guaranteed trust bank in Naira and other currency, especially in the global greenhouse. You learn your lesson. I learn mine. You are one the last time to visit Commerce Grand that you in 1 second you touch P1. No, I'll take you too far. I'd like to recommend you, but in your heart, reverse Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reasons for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. That's why I respect you first. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eyes on you. I would like you to remember also that the works of your hand are righteous, and I send judgment into it. All these commandments are sure. They stand fast forever and ever, and are done in truth and uprightness. Did you remember that Jeremiah 6 verses 8 actually talked about that the land of Israel across to Jerusalem is now used by the land of the Palestinians, yet is perceived Jerusalem, the area of the Mediterranean Sea. But I would like to meditate on one or two of your own words.
Good evening, everyone. So, I am here to tell you that we have another 10 speakers who will soon be coming. We are so thrilled to have you here at the State Department. Now, I have not heard or seen this room this animated in the 2 years that I've been here. So there's something in the water. By the way, you are in the Ben Franklin room. You can see Ben looking down on us over there. He was America's very first diplomat. He signed our first treaty. He charted the Gulf Stream. He pioneered electricity. He gave us our ethos of self-government, and none of this did he do while sober. So please feel inspired. Let me begin by thanking our extraordinary MC for this evening, Yvonne Orji. Yvonne, thank you. Nothing makes you more insecure than having to follow Yvonne on stage. Yvonne once wrote that Nigeria made me, America raised me. We often say that one of America's greatest strengths is our diversity. There are few greater testaments to that than the immense contributions of the African diaspora community, which is clearly out in force tonight. It is great to have you here. There are so many. President of the District of Columbia, my other great mayor, Mayor Bowser, I think was with us tonight, and I really want to thank the judges of our pitch competition, including Idris Elba. Idris, you here? You're here somewhere, was here. And to the remarkable competitors, know this: if you can survive a pitch competition with Stringer Bell, you can survive anything. So, it is fitting that we are kicking off a week focused on deepening our ties with African countries and people with this inspiring group. Innovators, entrepreneurs, young people. Earlier this year in South Africa, I had an opportunity to set out our administration strategy for the region. And at its core, the strategy can be distilled in one word. You've already heard it spoken tonight: partnership. It's rooted in the recognition that the United States and African nations can't deliver on any of our fundamental needs and aspirations for our people, and we can't solve any of the really big challenges we face if we don't work together. So, it's about what we can do with African nations and people, not for them. Our strategy reflects the region's diversity, its influence, and, as we can see tonight, the ingenuity of its young people. You all know this. Those youth are a growing part of the continent's population and also the world's. Today, more than 60% of Africa's population is under the age of 25. By 2030, 2 in every 5 people on this planet will be African. These rising generations are powering dynamic economic growth in their countries and far beyond. 2016, just a few years ago, African startups raised $350 million in investment. Last year, they raised $5 billion in investment, closing enduring gaps in healthcare, helping entrepreneurs break into the formal economy. We have a huge stake in the success of African innovators because when they're empowered to reach their full potential, it's good for the region, it's good for the continent, it's good for the world, it's good for America. Idris said it best. Africa doesn't need aid, it needs innovation. So tonight, let me just very quickly go through 3 ways our administration is working to broaden and deepen those partnerships to foster African innovation. First, we're investing in the infrastructure that provides the foundation for African entrepreneurship. That means creating more pathways for the free flow of ideas, of information, of investment, which in the 21st century requires one thing: digital connectivity. Let me give you one for academic and leadership training, developing skills, relationships that are going to last them a lifetime, to the benefit of their communities, but also ours. Many of the Mandela Washington Fellows are entrepreneurs, including Abel Haile from Ethiopia, who's here tonight. Abel's company is building bicycles and wheelchairs from bamboo, which is stronger than steel. You're right there. The sector already invests more than $4 in Africa for every dollar that our government allocates to the region in foreign assistance, and it wants to do more. That's the objective of our Office of Global Partnerships, which will take a U.S. private sector delegation to Ghana in February. It's the goal of the Prosper Africa Initiative, which is marshaling agencies from across our government to help more U.S. companies and investors do business in Africa, and to do it in a way that promotes inclusive growth that's sustainable for our planet. So, tonight we're joined by Prosper Africa's institutional investor delegation. It manages more than $1 trillion in savings for American workers and retirees. The delegation recently helped a group of U.S. pension funds, including those of teachers from Chicago, city workers from Hartford and Philadelphia, invest more than $85 million in an African fund that will provide financing to small businesses and entrepreneurs. One more bite-sized example. Several of the items on the menu prepared tonight by Chef Pierre were made using a grain called fonio.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad of your prophetic statement, of which had met up with me this very day. Let us still, in the State of Union of today, I rather say a worldwide one, or a send-off, and returning back to here, Africa. God's word has power to set up free, to choose what is good and reject what is wrong. You must reject ongoing administration in America. Let that be the end, and let the Second Republic light up by the respect of His Majesty, King Washington George Bush Herbert. The Lord Jesus went to set us free from the burden of guilt and from the destructive force of sin and wrongdoing in our personal lives. We want to purify our heart, Abuja, and renew our mind so we can really choose to love and do what is right. You know, Joe is the first African president in its own first republic. Just been through a first republic in America, you got to learn how to develop Africa as well. In the State of Union, we want to purify our heart, has been said, and renew wherever we can. Right and good, just and wise. The Lord Jesus is ready to change and purify our Abuja by setting up an international organization that is already knowing best way to do them, definitely, and transform your heart and mind. Let us still, until next year when such State of Union will be coming up, I want you to understand that Jesus is the first step, Psalm 7. In Psalm 7, National Assembly of the United Nations, I congratulate you all today.